Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video. This is a paid request, this time from Masi. Masi? Sorry if I mispronounced that. Thank you for that. And for those interested in requesting any type of videos or topics or reactions or commentaries, what have you, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both things are down below in the info box. And this is for the film They Cloned Tyrone from 2023. And this is a very, very woke film. Very woke. But I gotta admit, I did like it because I thought, A, the cast did a good job. I didn't mind the way it was shot. It was like a 70s film with the look and the aesthetics and the commercials and the clothes. But it was modern because like blood sports playing on TV in one scene. There's cell phones. They mentioned Hollow Man with Kevin Bacon, which was a funny reference. I like that when they referenced it. Plus, not every movie that references Hollow Man, and they liked the movie, so I liked that movie too. So that was nice. That was funny. But it has this interesting aesthetic, and the plot was pretty intriguing. It kind of reminded me of, I don't know if anyone saw Black Dynamite with Michael Jai White, where you find out the conspiracy was going on. It's not quite like that, but just how crazy it gets. Only that's supposed to be parody over the top. I do like Black Dynamite. That's a very funny movie. So that's kind of what I'm looking at. This it's trying to be a blaxploitation picture with a bit of mystery, a bit of sci-fi, with three lead characters that I did end up liking, and the actors do their jobs well. John Boyega, I don't mind as an actor. I think just as Finn, he was given a shitty part that they did absolutely nothing with, especially in the sequels to those movies. Especially with Last Jedi, what, he's bumming around. I can't get this shit off me. And what, he's a stormtrooper, but he worked in garbage or something? Trash? What the fuck? They did nothing with him. But I didn't mind him here as Fontaine, who is a drug dealer. Jamie Foxx stole the show. I'm glad he's doing better. I loved him in Day Shift. I like him in this. He's definitely my favorite part of the movie. He's very funny. Very funny role. I forget the actress' name, but there's a... Jamie Foxx plays a pimp. There's this girl named Yo-Yo who is a hooker. And they're the three that investigate this mystery that's going on. Kiefer Sutherland is in the film. David Allen Grier, I barely recognize, but he's in it for a little bit as a street preacher. Not street, but as a preacher. And I do think it fell flat in the third act. Especially, there's some stuff that just didn't make any damn sense. That bugged me. And because there's been so many movies that try to ape Jordan Peele and the whole woke stuff and white guys, racism, evil, that when you see that all the time, it does get tiresome a bit. But at the same time, I still think Get Out's a good movie. Nope, the other Jordan Peele film I liked, didn't do that too much, and I did end up liking the movie. And this one, I still thought it was a pretty good flick. I gotta separate, and maybe won't, but this was actually a pretty decent film. Like I said, I liked the way the film looked. I thought the cast did their jobs well. The way they made the TVs and the commercials within the TVs, all the aesthetics felt appropriate. Jamie Foxx, he had a lot of scenes that just made me laugh quite a bit. The chickies ain't clicking. It's a whole front. And listen, I'm gonna slap your fake ass wig with nothing on but my Gucci boxers. Now he does a lot better than my. If you buy into the insanity, then let a pimp freshen up. Jamie Foxx, with the way he verbalizes, the way he plays the part, it's almost as if him getting back into his In Living Color days in a very sincere way. And the plot is pretty much John Boyega is doing his daily ritual, being a drug dealer, getting some alcohol, giving some to this homeless guy outside the store, tries to talk to his mom, as mom always tells him, go away, I'm busy. Until one day he gets shot and killed. But then he wakes up, he has no memory of it, but Jamie Foxx sure as hell does. I love his reaction. Oh shit, it's a ghost. Oh my god, what the hell's going on? Wait a minute. You went outside and you pulled a 50 cent. So John Boyega is confused, and the yo-yo, she confirms that she knew something was up. So the three of them investigate this vehicle, they get into it, and they find a secret elevator, and when they come down, they find all this shit going on, a scientist, the dead body of one of, that looks like him, that looks like John Boyega. And Jamie Foxx finds this powder, which he immediately thinks is cocaine, which I don't know why you immediately think that. It could be, it could be asbestos for all you fucking know. It could be, I don't know, I just, the fact that he went right into thinking it was cocaine, I thought, again, there's a lot of other substances that are white. Fucking cleaning products are white. But he does it anyway, and when he starts doing it, Jamie Foxx keeps laughing uncontrollably, which becomes an important plot point. So the next day, some of them go back, elevator's gone, and they're trying to find out what's going on. You find out it's this big conspiracy, where this area called the Glen, it's called the Glen, is under some type of mind control, research, development, cloning project that gets crazier and crazier. And it was a very unique story. I was intrigued to see where this was going. I just think the third act kind of let it down a bit. But overall, I did enjoy the journey. Of how this conspiracy... I would say I liked the journey more than the destination, if that makes sense. Sometimes, like, I would read up and people say there's action in this. It's not really action in this movie. It's more of a mystery, blaxploitation with a bit of comedy in there. A little bit of sci-fi. And listen, when they're investigating, that was more intriguing part of it, because I like the way the three interacted with each other. You have the more serious John Boyega, you have the funny Jamie Foxx, you have the strong lady Yo-Yo, but they all worked well together. And the way they investigate wait a minute, they're at a chicken place, and they're eating chicken, they're laughing, and they notice how everybody else is laughing. It's like, wait a minute. That powder I took, it's in the chicken. And how it's also, this stuff is in the grape soda, it's in this other stuff. They go to a church, and everybody's dancing like a fucking Medea movie. Which, that's what made me laugh, because this was like a Medea movie. And our three lead characters going, wait a minute, I haven't been in church for a while, but something's strange about this. Must be something in the soda, the grape soda. The grape juice. So they finally get down to this research facility that's under the whole area, and they find that there's mind control and how they're testing subjects out depending on what's in music, what's in the food, how they control the population. I get what they're trying to go for. Spoiler alert, to get a bit more serious. I get what they're trying to go for, the fact of, People kind of do live in these stereotypes that people think you should live by. That's why the three leads are a pimp, a drug dealer, and a hooker. And if you don't work together and get yourself out, then you're always going to be stuck into these burrows of stereotypes. Because what ultimately saves them is them gearing up and getting together and working together and not killing each other off with crime and gang warfare. If you don't kill each other off, you help each other, you actually accomplish something. So I do get that idea, and his heart's in the right place. But Kiefer Sutherland, like the fact that he plays it with such a thick redneck accent. Hi there, I'm Kiefer Sutherland. I'm talking like I'm long, like Foghorn Leghorn from fucking Looney Tunes as we was talking. It was a very, very over the top. It was almost comedic. Maybe that's the point. It was such a thick redneck accent. Or from Alabama or something like that. My name Bubba Gump. I like all the shrimp. I'm Slim Blade. I wasn't really big on Kiefer Sutherland's performance. I think he could have played the role better without the very, very thick, laughable accent. And this is where the story kind of falls apart a little bit for me. Because it gets to a point where the spoilers. The three on the research facility, they get out, and they want to get the fuck out of Dodge. They want to warn people. They're chased after. Because where they get out is this strip club, and they're chased by all these people. I like the scene that the music affects them and controls them, and the whole mass, like a horror film, follows them and chases them in this car. I'm thinking, oh, okay, now it's going to be like Body Snatchers type of thing, or the Crazies, where they got to fight through all these crowds, and there's more and more crowds are under control, and they have to find a way to stop from being controlled, and they have to fight it off, and the three of them work together, and they get the people who are in control, which is the gang members, is all, well, whatever, they're doing what we expect them to do, and they actually decide to go a different way, and it shows their independence, and then they work together. No, it's Kiefer Sutherland and this other version of John Boyega come out of a car. Kiefer kind of explains a chunk of the plot. We are keep the United States united. We're here to use you. And they have control words to control Jamie Foxx and John Boyega. So he says a few words. John Boyega has to pull out a gun, put the gun in his mouth. Now, I could tell you, but I was told not to do that. Now, you got one or two choices. Either we could do this way, or you could just go back to your lives and forget about it. And you find out who that is. I guess that's supposed to explain this, but at the same time, we know there are plenty of fucking clones of Fontaine, of John Boyega's character. It would have been so simple and easy to just kill Jamie Foxx and John Boyega because they are clones, and we see that there are clones in the facility of them. Which is some nice scenes with Jamie Foxx seeing it and the look on his face and like their reactions to it. I like that part. But why? It doesn't make sense why Kiefer and them would let these guys go who know the truth. Makes no fucking sense. None. And then go later on you find out that the big doctor is a much older John Boyega, and he worked with the government because his brother, aka your brother, but it was my brother, was shot by a cop. So then annihilation wasn't the answer, assimilation was the answer. So this is all research and development. And the ultimate goal, my plan, is to change black people literally into white people. Which is a crazy idea. Although, that's kind of the idea in Get Out. Really. If you think about it. Only in Get Out is white people think it. Here it's the black guy who thought of it. And it's a different way. But that was taking a conscious into another body. Here it's going to take years of genetics, breeding, whatever the fuck the case was. But I'm like, this is still kind of like Get Out. So, I don't know. And I do think Get Out was a better movie. I think Get Out was a much more satisfying ending. Much more impact. Bad guys getting their just desserts. Here, after the let go, I like John Boyega's acting, where he doesn't know what to do. No one's gonna believe you. He's trying to live his life, but he can't. He's begging his mom to open up the door, and he kicks it open. And he finds out that his mom's not really there, which makes sense because he's a clone. It's a recording that will answer based on what he says. Now, of course, there's a bit of it where would he never know that his mom was a recording on a tape? Like, I get that maybe you don't see your mom for a few days or a week, but how long has this clone been alive? A month? 2 months? 3 months? If you're living in the same place and 3 months later or 2 months later you haven't seen her for 5 seconds, yeah, I'd be worried too. I would have checked in and would have found that earlier. I mean, it's a nice surprise for the audience, but when you think about it, you go, wait a minute, what? I mean, maybe a previous one found out and then they killed him, but that's never established. You have to just guess. So it was a nice review as a viewer. It's a nice emotional sequence for John Boyega. But the logical sense is, wait a minute. Again, if he was alive for, I don't know, 2 months, 2 years, whatever the case is, clone, he never once tried to bust in before. Just hard to wrap your head around. Or the whole town is under watch with all these cameras. These researchers do is watch. That's their job. So they don't know when Jamie Foxx and gets all these other gangsters and gang members and they're all in all these cars, like 5, 6, 7, 10 cars. They go down the road. And then they get up to one of these places that have an elevator. They'd say, open up. None of these researchers and scientists knows this is happening when there's fucking cameras everywhere. Just by the third act, John Boyega faces death. I do like some of the dialogue where you find out that he gets shot, but he faked his death, and what happened before that, where the other gang member's trying to remember his lines, what he's supposed to say. Okay, you sound like Denzel. Training Day or Book of Eli? Book of Eli. Shit. Alright, fuck. Let's do it again. So I like that slight against Book of Eli because I'm not a fan of that movie. So again, the plot is still interesting and the acting is still good and I still like the aesthetic of the movie, but it's just, how is it that nobody of these researchers knows like 40 armed black individuals are coming to your fucking place? And also, there's like no guards in the research facility. There's like no guards with guns. Because I'm thinking, oh, it's going to be a battle, it's going to be a firefight, it's going to be some action. No. They take over pretty easily. Just, you get over there, shoot some unarmed scientists. John Boyega gets fucked up by one of the clones of him to be brought to the head scientist, which is an older version of him, to tell that bit that I told earlier. While Kiefer is trying to get Yo-Yo, but then Jamie Foxx gets him. Also, not just that, but where are the mind control commands? Like, if all these individuals are down here, some of them must be part of that mind control thing, right? Because Kiefer was able to yell a command and freeze the whole crowd behind them. Freeze Jamie Foxx. Freeze and control John Boyega. Why is no one using any of these commands now during this whole finale? Get on the speaker. Blah, 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 blah. They're frozen. Turn your guns on each other. Shoot. Why does that never come into play? See, that's what I'm talking about. The third act, I thought, really fell apart. And I wish they didn't... Okay, the mind control, if it was... They need to drink or eat... Okay, if they need to drink the soda and eat the chicken, and it's as long as in their bloodstream. Like, the chemicals are there, and that somehow will help us control them. Or we need to play this type of music. If we play this type of music consistently, as long as they hear this music, then I can control them. Because in the club, it seemed like that was the case. But then they're outside where there's no music around and they're still controlled. So if there was something like that, maybe then okay, maybe they'll play different music and not stereotypical music. Oh, it's rap? Well, we're going to play classical music, motherfucker. Beethoven number 9. Oh, you know what? Fuck it. We're going to play some goddamn AC/DC music. Back in Black, bitches. That would be awesome. Coming in with Back in Black in the sack. That would fit. Back in Black. More ways than one. I'm black, you're black, and black and blue is your face. So that music, isn't... Oh, they'll control us with the music. I got this shit. They play music, and then they had like a battle. Like, some fist fights, some battles, some gun battles. Like, much more exciting, thrilling finale. It just... With how interesting of a build-up, I thought the third act really faltered. It kind of just went for easy answers to the solutions, easy answers to the problems. There wasn't really that exciting of a takeover or satisfying of a takeover. At least it doesn't end on a grim, downbeat note. They succeed. John Boyega... He's able to do a voice command on the other John Boyega to shoot the scientist. I guess you could say that they can only be done on clones. So that's why John Boyega, and that's why... but nobody else is a clone. But how would you know which of that gang member is a clone and not a clone? How did they choose which is a clone and which is not? Did they look at all the gang members and say, okay, let me remember, okay, you weren't a clone, you weren't a clone, you weren't a clone, you weren't a clone, okay, you come with us. None of those gang members that Jamie Foxx got, none of them were other clones that could fall on commands? None of them? Because then John Boyega says a command to the other John Boyega and it shoots the scientist. And the scientist was like, I'm not a clone. I know, but he is. Blah, blah, blah. Shoot him. I just think some details could have been worked out the best with that whole thing. But they're able to make it out, and they're able to succeed, and newscasts are talking about it. Granted, the newscasts, you just send them to the fucking lab and go, hey, everybody in the news, follow me into this elevator. Here's the lab. Here's the evidence. There you go. It's not one of those, how could they get evidence? There's a fucking elevator. You go down, there's the whole fucking lab. There you go. It's not that hard to prove it. So the three are happy, and they let the cat out of the bag, and the news crews are reporting it. Cut to, what's that, L.A. or something? There's another John Boyega, whose name is Tyrone. And someone goes, "Is that you on TV, Tyrone?" So it's probably like another area that's under research with another John Boyega. And now they're going to find out what's going on and have their story. Thus, they cloned Tyrone. Which, if I understand, the Tau was only called that. Tyrone was never going to be a main character. It was just sounded funny. They cloned Tyrone. Sounded like a catchy title. So I did like it. I thought at times it was funny. The mystery was interesting. Some of its heavy-handedness, some of its... I say original, but there are parts that did remind me a lot of Get Out. And the third act, I thought there were some faults into not being as exciting, or as satisfying, or as exhilarating, or as smart as it could be. But I did like it. I did overall like the film. So, with that said, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.